My presentation today really focused on the continuing need for trabeculectomy and tube implantation in an era when much of the attention has been directed at the minimally invasive or microincisional novel glaucoma surgical procedures. Clearly, these procedures have had a positive impact on our field, but given an aging population and the fact that many patients will need very low intraocular pressures when they have advanced disease, often later in life, I still think there'll be a continuing need for trabeculectomy and tube implantation. In particular, I think trabeculectomy is unfortunately becoming a lost art in many regions of the country as people favor the less labor-intensive, well-reimbursed for their time, minimally invasive approaches. And I think there are reasons both in terms of effort and financial that can have had an impact on the glaucoma surgical space. Trabeculectomy in particular is a very labor-intensive procedure. Many doctors feel it's too much work for what they get paid for it. But the reality is you're doing this procedure oftentimes to save a patient's vision, and I think it's very important for every glaucoma specialist to either learn how to do trabeculectomy well or at least know someone else they can refer patients to if they choose not to do trabeculectomy. Tube implantation similarly is a very important procedure to have in your practice. Patients who've had prior failed blood-forming procedures, oftentimes a tube implantation is the only filtration option left in some of these patients. So while there may be many, many more patients who benefit from minimally invasive approaches, these approaches will often be followed by more invasive approaches being needed later on in life. By virtue of having one MIGS procedure or even a series of MIGS procedures, there's no guarantee that you won't need something more invasive like a trabeculectomy or tube implantation. I think MIGS and the MIGS and other novel approaches can coexist with trabs and tubes. Really, they're for different patients at different stages of disease. I don't think one replaces the other. I really think that people need to have the entire spectrum of glaucoma surgical options made available to them. And it's not necessary for every surgeon, every glaucoma surgeon, to know every single procedure, but they should all, each surgeon should be willing, if they're not doing the surgeries themselves, to make sure that the patients get the right procedure in good hands. And in our practice, where we have 8 full-time glaucoma specialists, some of us have certain procedures we have much more familiarity and comfort with, and we'll often refer to each other based on people's particular areas of expertise. So even within glaucoma surgery, there are people who have become super specialists in the canal and the subconjunctival space, and we share patients based on people's expertise.